Welcome to another Brampton Focus webisode. Well, you know, this is a musical based on, as they would say, a modern-day Romeo and Juliet. In 1957, 732 performances of this production took place on Broadway before they took it on the road. And in 1961, they actually made a movie about it. And the beautiful, I should say, Natalie Wood starred in it. It's about two gangs in the Upper East Side of New York, one called the Sharks, and the other, well, they're called the Jets, and we're talking about West Side Story. It's a musical, and it's coming to Brampton Music Theatre. What we wanted to do in this webisode was introduce you. We're going to do it in two parts, and we're going to introduce you to the two main characters. We're so happy to have right beside me is Gabriela Farias. Gabriela is the lead. She's playing Maria, and you can see with this beautiful smile, it's apropos. And beside her is the strapping Klint Uzuni, who plays Tony. So these are the two main characters in West Side Story. Folks, thank you so much for joining us on Brampton Focus. You look so happy and so young and so bright.
It's such a pleasure to be here, and we couldn't imagine being anywhere else right now.
Yeah, of course you are. Your check's in the mail. So I want to first of all say a music theater is so vibrant. It is something you're interacting with an orchestra, a live orchestra. You've got a live group of people in attendance, but you've got such a challenge because there's many people who have seen the movie, seen the stage show. So I'll go to you first, Gabriela. You are an accomplished actress. You've got a great repertoire and a bio. How did you ever get this part in Brampton Music Theatre?
I was interested in this part for a long time. I've actually had the privilege of playing this part 10 years ago.
Yep.
With our artistic director, John Thomas. So that was a huge draw for me. And I think now coming back and reviewing the role, I see a lot of things that I missed before. Maria's not as naive as I thought. She's very inquisitive, and she has a lot more layers. So I'm excited to bring that and share that to this production.
Speaking to the musical director, Sharon Vandrish, who's been on our show several times. We've seen Les Miserables and many other productions that she's been responsible for at the Rose Theatre. One of the interesting points that Sharon pointed out was that this was a mass call. It wasn't that they had specific people that they wanted for the role. So you went to a cattle call, an open call, like anybody else, and you earned the role, which is a fantastic accomplishment.
Yeah, I think Brampton Music Theatre is such a welcoming community. I had the opportunity when I was 16, 15 to participate in some ensemble roles with BMT, Fiddler on the Roof, and Beauty and the Beast. And now I get to come back and do this lead role with this phenomenal, talented group.
Well, nothing beats live theater. I mean, you can't beat live theater. So, Klint, I'll go to you. I mean, you are the antagonist of it. You didn't want to be involved in the gangs in the story, and so you meet Maria, who is the sister of the rival gang's lead guy. So you're kind of like the vinegar in the cornstarch of everything that's going on. How did you arrive at Brampton Music Theatre and obtain this role?
Well, unlike Gabriela, who has done shows in the past with Brampton Music Theatre, for me this was my first time, and I had only heard of it, I think, a few months or a few weeks prior to my audition. It was through Facebook. I saw an ad, and then a friend of mine who I was doing a show with at the time, which was another musical, told me, he asked me, are you going to audition for Brampton Music Theatre? They're doing West Side Story. And, you know, this being a dream show for me, especially the part of Tony, I mean, I've sung this part for, you know, so many years since my voice broke, I can say. You know, of course, back then it wasn't as good as...
Just a couple of years shy of puberty, right there, Klint? Right, yes. I don't think so.
And yeah, it was like a dream come true. I mean, the audition went really well, and I think I realized right away at the callback when I saw Gabriela sing.
So you knew each other beforehand?
We didn't know each other,
No.
but after seeing her audition, I think
that would be a great Maria.
I think she would be the one that was cast.
When you take into consideration the production value of the Brampton Music Theatre, and particularly position in the Rose Theatre, it is exemplary. You have a live band and the staging and everything. There is so much pressure put on you guys because so many people know the roles. They know the music. They've seen the movie. They've seen it probably on stage because it's been on the road infinitum. How much of it is a challenge, Gabriela, for you to be able to take that role and make it your own? Obviously, you have to honor what Natalie Wood did because that's probably the largest exposure. But what do you have to do to make it your own?
I think musically, Sharon has an excellent vision of her, Maria, as a young singer. So I think you'll see a lot of singers play it in a very classical way that lends itself to a more mature sound. And we're really trying to make Maria sound like 15, 16. So there's something fresh and new that I hope is a little bit different. And in terms of exploring her role, I shared before, like, I'm coming through this from a new perspective. And John is really helping me to find all that depth that Maria has in terms of her natural intuitiveness. And so I think you're going to see that come through.
Well, we're looking to see a little bit of Gabriela Farias in that as well. Klint, I'll give you a question. I mean, you can steal the show if you have the opportunity, because you're the guy who's floating all around. You're the dynamic guy. You're the one that he's in love with her. How do you?
He's the Romeo of the show, if you will. I mean,
very much so. But how do you moderate that so that you fit into the cast so you don't stick out? There's quite a skill to be able to do that, so you don't stick out like you're trying to, it's me, but you're part of the group. How do you deal with that?
Well, I think that there are certain scenes in which Tony is with his gang members, and they're more than that, they're his friends, they're his family. And I think during those scenes, there's not so much of an opportunity for Tony to shine and to show himself as much as during his solos, of course. So I think, during those gang scenes, there's the rumble, and then there's the jet song, and there's, the scene with Shrank at Docks. During those instances, I think Tony kind of shies away from the spotlight, and
becomes more of the cast instead of the focus.
Becomes more of the cast, and then he has plenty of his own moments to become the focus. So yeah, during those scenes, I think that's
cool. I think you guys are going to be fantastic. Klint Uzuni, who plays Tony, and of course Gabriela Farias are going to be featured in West Side Story, that's taking place at Brampton Music Theatre from November 10th to the 19th. Now, this is the first part of our webisode. Coming up next, we're going to meet lovely Katrina Gibson, who plays Anita, and of course the illustrious Sharon Vandrish, who is a musical director. My name is Michael Charbon. Stay tuned. We're coming back with our second part to our webisode from Brampton Focus. Welcome to part two of our Brampton webisode, and we're featuring something that's taking place at the Rose Theatre from November the 10th to the 19th. You got to mark that in, and it's called West Side Story. You've got to check this out. There's been many other productions that have happened at the Brampton Theatre, Rose Theatre, for instance. Evita, Les Miserables, Jesus Christ Superstar. There's been a whole raft of productions. Excellently done, great production value, live music. But more importantly, we've got the musical director and the young lady who plays Anita. First of all, Sharon Vandrish, who is the musical director of the Brampton Music Theatre, and beside her, Katrina Gibson, who plays the role of Anita in West Side Story. First of all, to you, Sharon, thank you very much for coming back. I've had the pleasure of attending numerous of your productions. The production value, the skill, the live music is exceptional. This West Side Story is setting a bar that's going to be hard to hit again. It's probably your largest orchestra that you've ever had, over 22 pieces, but more importantly, your relationship with the city of Brampton in delivering this great musical theater to the people of Brampton has reached another announcement, which you're going to share with us today.
That's correct. So the city of Brampton, actually for the first time in our history, and theirs, I believe, have decided to co-produce this particular show with us at the Rose Theatre coming in November, which means they're really invested in Brampton Music Theatre. They really believe in what we're doing, and they're willing to put their words behind that with a variety of different things that they're doing, promoting us at their subscriber night, including us in their subscriber series, and not having us compete with other musicals that are coming in that they would hire for as a touring.
But Sharon,
show.
Your productions, and I say this again, it's from November the 10th to the 19th. The caliber of expertise that you put is bar none on the best. I mean, I saw Evita, Les Miserables, Jesus Christ Superstar. All those were just such exceptional productions. You walk out of there feeling wonderful, live music, real band. I mean, West Side Story is such a challenge because we've seen the plays, we've seen the movie. What kind of a challenge did that give you to be able to deliver, as we anticipate, a wonderful production? What kind of challenges did you see?
Well, there's a couple I think that you have to consider. One is that everybody has seen it, so how are you going to make it unique and make it your own? And the other one is really logistically, it is probably one of the hardest musicals out there for an orchestra to play.
Yep.
So how do we solicit a community orchestra at a professional level? I'm very, very fortunate to have a large array of musicians that are willing to work with us now.
Yep.
They see the caliber. So I think I'm kind of I'm enhanced by those people that want to help see us succeed and appreciate the caliber of what we're doing right now. It's just that great at this
There's
point.
more talent than people give Brampton credit for.
Absolutely.
I think.
Absolutely.
Katrina, I'm going to go to you. You're playing the role of Anita, and that basically is the girlfriend of the bad guy, the guy who's running with the Sharks, the Puerto Rican band. What specific element in the production that Anita participates in? Is there one song or one scene that you really like that you'd like to share with our folks at home?
Yes, my favorite part of West Side Story is actually A Boy Like That, I Have a Love, the duet between Marie and Anita at this high emotional climax of the show. And I just think it's wonderfully complex and wonderfully beautiful, and it's such an amazing part. And one thing I love about West Side Story is I disagree to some degree. I don't think there are any antagonists in West Side Story. I think it's a wonderfully complex show about people who are afraid, and no side is good or evil. It's this wonderful gray area. Both people make mistakes, but both people are just people trying to do what's best, and they're just afraid, so they make mistakes. But I don't think there is a good and a bad side. I don't think there are antagonists necessarily in West Side Story. I think everyone is in this wonderful space of trying to find a way to make their life work. Yeah.
So it's set in the Upper West Side in the 1950s, and it does pit two gangs against each other. But you play a very sexy, vivacious young lady. How does that make you feel? I mean, you have to still use a little bit of the bar of the 1950s, because I think we're all used to a different level of sexy, if one would say.
Yeah.
How much of a challenge is that?
That's a really big challenge. It's definitely for sure a challenge to get really into that 1950s set of what this would look like. And it involved a lot of preparation of watching, examples of that type of 1950s
It's
movies
a calm
and things.
sexy.
Yes, it's a very, to get that very specific look and style. Yeah.
Sharon, give our folks at home a little bit of a taste. What can they anticipate by coming and seeing this show? Again, I can't reinforce the point of the production value from November 10th to the 19th. Tell us a little bit what they can expect and how can they get a hold of tickets and start reserving, because it's going to go fast, and we know it's going to go.
We're already at about 25% of sellout right now, and we just started, the tickets just went on sale about 3 weeks ago, so we're doing really, really well with that. But I would say that being in an experience where you're emotionally going to be touched by the story, it is an older story in that it's like the families that couldn't let the lovers be together.
Right.
And I think if
It's like Pocahontas almost, Romeo and Juliet.
It's
the
exactly
common theme,
Romeo
right?
and Juliet. Yeah. So I think people were going to feel emotionally drawn by the performances of our actors, and of course by the music, which has got some excellent standards that we all know about.
Well, Sharon, we're very much looking forward to see it. Sharon Vandrish, the musical director of West Side Story, and also Katrina Gibson, who plays Anita. And before that, we want to thank our other guests, the beautiful Gabriela Farias, who is playing Maria, and Klint Uzuni, who plays Tony. Brampton Music Theatre, the West Side Story, will be at the Rose Theatre from November the 10th to the 19th. We encourage you to give it a look. This has been a Brampton webisode. If you have an interesting comment, or if you have a community event that you would like to have publicized, please contact us at bramptonfocus.ca, and we'd be happy to assist. I'm Michael A. Charbon. Thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you at West Side Story.